Hello, my dear, and thanks for choosing to spend some time with me. I wanted to read for you an article on the origins of Hanukkah. Since tonight is the 8th night of the Festival of Lights, I thought it would be important to provide information for those of us not already familiar with Hanukkah. This is a National Geographic article in their History and Culture section. It's titled How an Ancient Revolt Sparked the Festival of Lights. Subtitled, Celebrated over 8 days and nights, Hanukkah commemorates a people's uprising and a holy miracle from more than 2,000 years ago. This article was written by Amy Briggs and published November 29th of 2021. It's time to celebrate Hanukkah, the Jewish festival of lights that lasts for 8 days and nights. This year, Hanukkah starts on Sunday, November 28th, and ends on Monday, December 6th. The holiday's popularity has surged in modern times, but its origins date back to the turbulent centuries following the death of Alexander the Great, the ancient Macedonian leader who conquered the Persian Empire. The origins of Hanukkah. After Alexander's death in 323 BCE, a power struggle broke out among his generals that lasted for more than a century. The Greco-Syrian Seleucid kings would emerge victorious and rule many of Alexander's former territories, including Judea, which is located in central present-day Israel. The Seleucids exerted their influence through Hellenization, the practice and spread of Greek art, architecture, and religion. Local communities, especially in Judea, resisted it. In 175 BCE, the Seleucid king Antiochus IV Epiphanes came into power and tried to force Judeans to assimilate. The Seleucids captured the Holy Temple of Jerusalem and defiled it by erecting an altar to the Greek god of Zeus inside. Antiochus outlawed the Jewish faith and mandated the worship of Greek gods. Some scholars think he believed that establishing one common religion might unify his fractured empire, but his brutal methods undid those intentions. Writing in the 1st century CE, Jewish historian Josephus recorded the brutal plundering of Jerusalem and treatment of Jewish dissidents who were, quote, whipped with rods and their bodies torn to pieces and were crucified while they were still alive and breathed. And if there were any sacred book or the law to be found, it was destroyed, and those with whom they were found miserably perished also, end quote. Horrified by the temple desecration and cruelty towards the Jewish people, a priest named Mattathias and his sons rose up in rebellion. After Mattathias' death in 166 BCE, his son Judah the Maccabee, the Hammer, took his father's place in the fight and led the Jewish people in many victories over the Seleucids. In 164, Judah won back Jerusalem and restored the temple, cleansing and rededicating it. The revolt of the Maccabees, as it came to be known, continued on and ultimately drove the Seleucids from Judah in 160 BCE. Hanukkah, which means dedication, commemorates the miracle of light that occurred when Judah rededicated the temple to the Hebrew God. According to the Talmud, one of Judaism's holy texts, the Seleucids left only one intact vial of oil, just enough to light the temple's candelabrum for 1 day. But it burned for 8 days, enough time for the victorious Judeans to secure more oil, and the miracle became the foundation of a beloved holiday to thank God and celebrate the victory of light over darkness. How Hanukkah is celebrated. Although it is traditionally a fairly minor religious holiday, Hanukkah grew popular in the 20th century due to its proximity to Christmas. Hanukkah, writes Tatiana Lichtenstein, director of the Schusterman Center for Jewish Studies at the University of Texas at Austin, quote, offered an opportunity for Jews to participate in the holiday celebrations, complete with gift-giving and merrymaking, without giving up their distinct religious and cultural identities. Today, Hanukkah is celebrated on the 25th day of Kislev, the 9th month of the Hebrew calendar, which typically falls in late November to mid-December. For 8 nights, candles are lit in a menorah, a candelabrum with spaces for 9 candles. One for each night plus a servant candle called the shamash. On each successive night, one more candle is added and lit. During the lighting, people recite special blessings and prayers. Songs are sung and gifts are exchanged to commemorate the miracle in the temple more than 2,000 years ago. This year, the COVID-19 pandemic is expected to disrupt Hanukkah celebrations across the world, but not even a pandemic can extinguish this festival dedicated to the miracle of light. Instead, much merriment will take place from a distance, from virtual menorah lightings to drive-through festivals. And that is the end of this article. I wanted to thank you for choosing to spend some time with me today, and I hope that your day improves. Have a good night.